Hey guys, welcome back to 100 Drops of Apex Legends, the series where I drop every POI in the game 100 times, track my stats across said drops, and pass along any tips, tricks, and lessons I learned in an effort to master the game and help you get better as well. Today we're looking at POI number 7 out of 96 in the game, and we're going to the beautiful Olympus for the third time this series. I draw... Take two? I dropped Energy Depot 100 times in a row, and this is what I learned. As always, here's the stats we'll be tracking across our 100 drops at Energy Depot. At the end of the video, we'll go over these stats, compare them to what the average game of Apex looks like for me, see what we can learn, and hopefully get a little bit better in the process. Now, without any further ado, let's leave no stat unturned and no tip unlearned. This is the POI Breakdown for Energy Depot. Energy Depot is one of the most consistent hot drops on Olympus, only possibly quieter than Estates, which we kicked off this 100 drop series with just about 2 months ago now. Its central location means you'll typically be sharing the POI with at least one team regardless of dropship angle, so if you're looking to kill grind, this is a great spot to land at. Now this POI is pretty unique in the fact that most of it is covered by these large triangular solar panels, with only the very middle being open to the sky. But this doesn't actually change much about the drop, as you can pretty easily guide yourself under the roofs and to the other parts of the POI off drop like how I'm showcasing here. Just drop as normal, then sneak under the roof as tightly as possible, landing in a slide to carry your momentum forward. You can reach just about every section of the POI off drop by doing so. As for where to land, the most immediately obvious place is this ultimate low ground in the middle of the open area that has 6 floor loot piles and 4 bins. It's not uncommon to see blue and purple armor spawn here as well, making it extra enticing. The trade-off, of course, is, well, it's the ultimate low ground, and with it being smack in the middle of the POI, more often than not, you're going to have to 50-50 somebody, or at least get into a gunfight with little to no cover right off drop. Oh, I got double landed on, I'm coming to you! If you're going to do this, I'd recommend playing a movement legend like Horizon or Pathfinder, so that you have that get out of jail free card in case things do go south. And you'll also need to be wary of cunning players who may land on one of these areas and quickly move over to shoot down on the chaos unfolding in the pit. And this can be a good strategy for some easy KP, but it's pretty dependent on getting a gun from your pill of choice, so I don't personally employ this strategy too often. Other places I like to drop at are the houses on the east and north sides of the POI underneath the roofs. They have comparable amount of loot to the pit, possibly more even, and are much quieter considering they're not smack in the middle of the POI. The best legend for dropping at this POI is far and away Horizon. Her jump jets make her the queen of the hot drop, but especially so here at Energy Depot, where she can slide much farther with her passive than the other legends when landing anywhere under the roofs, like how I mentioned earlier. Pathfinder and Wraith are also great choices with their Qs allowing them to relocate out of the focus of attention quickly, a trait always super useful in a hot drop. My recommended rotation from Energy Depot is Hammond Labs, which will have a skirmish happening there that you can third party a good amount of the time, and then from there you can either continue to Estates and clean up the survivors over there, or you can head north through Turbine to Fight Night and look for more action up there. Gunshots from both potential rotates can be heard from Hammond Labs, so just keep your ears open so you'll know where the third party opportunities are. But that's just about everything you need to know about Energy Depot. Let's get into my 100 drops themselves, where we'll be going over POI specific tips, tricks, and game situations that will let you maximize your kills and wins when you drop at this POI. But before we get to that, consider dropping a like on this video. It really helps a small creator with big aspirations and a massive passion for Apex Legends. I mean, I literally have a running tier list of all of the NA ALGS teams, life size, in my background of every one of my streams. But without further ado, let's get into the drops.
I see one team contesting.
Drop 50 is a perfect showcase of how strong Horizon is at this POI. Here I utilize her Q to escape from the focus of attention quickly, and relocate to this archway that has full line of sight over all the chaos happening in the pit.
You're about to take this whole trio by yourself, bro? I want to see that.
Let's fucking go.
Drop 33 showcases a good lay low spot. The tops of the houses on the north side of the POI are great places to sit tight and wait for the right moment to make your move. In this case, it was getting my teammates back in the game. Drop 90 sees me utilize a nasty head glitch on this staircase, and I was able to tell exactly where this seer was before he dropped, because if you didn't know, Seer's passive has a noticeably louder audio cue as of Season 16.
Pick. About 30-30 in a big.
Finally, with this being one of the most chaotic hot drops in the game, I thought it would be fitting to break down a game where I had a good amount of success, and walk you guys through a play-by-play of my decision making and how I like to approach a hot drop in general. In this drop, my brother and I were doing duo v squads to challenge ourselves, but most of my decisions here will still apply to all game modes. I drop the pit and get the first few shots on this Loba, but I whiff the next couple and she turns to start firing on me. With the grenade indicators, smoke, and the Loba now full targeting me, I decide it's time to use the get out of jail free card and queue up and out of the focus of attention. While in my queue, I notice that my brother has gone down, so I move over to his side of the pit to assess the situation. I get the knock on the player who he made weak, but I can tell there are at least 3 more enemies in the immediate vicinity. Let's test your perception. Who are these 3 players, and where are they? Number 1, this Fuse, who previously was one of the bozos looking over me in the pit. I do not know his health, but I assume it is full. 2, the Loba I disengaged with prior on the other side of the pit. She's only a short distance away, and is likely on the Fuse's team, seeing as the Fuse didn't focus her when I queued out initially. I left her at approximately 100 HP, but she's had time to pop cells by now. 3, this Bloodhound somewhere in this area, who I know is there because he just used his Q. Now if you also remember, there were 2 bozos looking over me in the pit earlier, which means we now have seen 4 legends, so this is at minimum 2 teams in the immediate vicinity. With how hot this area is right now, and with my position revealed having just knocked a teammate of one of the squads, it's time to reposition out of the line of sight from where I got the knock. I find a good spot to pop cells and hear the audio cue of the enemy reviving the kid I just knocked. So I look over and clean him up for free, and it turns out it was the Bloodhound from before. Now, notice I only have 2 shots left in my EVA 8. With my brother having been fully killed by somebody at the same time that I killed the Bloodhound, this means top priority is now finding more ammo so that I can defend myself and then attempt to grab his banner. I use my remaining shotgun shots to thirst this Octane, but he only has a clip and a half of light. I then promptly spray half of my ammo into this bad guy, meaning I have 10 bullets to my name. Ammo is once again priority number 1.
They ain't ready for this. See ya.
Oh, come on.
I don't have ammo, dude.
Oh, you're done with ammo. That sucks.
Alright, now I did.
What? What the fuck?
After finding a stack of shotgun shells, I run into this Loba doing goodness knows what, and promptly put her down. Now since it wasn't a full kill, I know her teammates will likely be honing in on her position any second now. So I reposition quickly again after securing the thirst to find a shield swap or heal back to full. Then it's time to secure my brother's banner.
No, it's empty.
Here I make a critical error. I didn't notice that this Horizon on my brother's banner was in the middle of fighting this Gibby. The spot I chose to take to ego chow this Horizon just happens to be right between her and the Gibby, meaning now I'm the center of attention for everyone in the immediate area. Quickly realizing this, I pop the get out of jail free card and take ultimate height immediately.
Right in front of him.
I am in a very tough spot now. The Horizon's teammate enters the fray, and both are now focusing me. I don't know where the Gibby's gone, but he is obviously no longer in the equation if these 2 are focusing me this hard. I'm running low on ammo again as well, and my only hope is to secure a knock by playing my superior positioning here, which would even the fight, giving me time to retreat and scavenge more ammo.
Oh god. This is an awkward fight.
No!
Awkward fight there.
Try to make it as awkward on him as possible.
Oh, hey, welcome on in, didn't see you there. No, it's good that you're here, come on, sit down, grab a drink, we're about to go over the stats from the Energy Depot episode. Come on, don't be shy. All right, so what we're looking at right here, oh, well, let's make it full screen. All right, so what we're looking at here is obviously the seasonal stats that I've had so far this season, season 17. And this is, of course, what we're going to compare my stats from the 100 drops to and see if we can figure out anything of note about my play style or how to best play out contests at Energy Depot. So just looking at the stats, I have 787 total games played this season, 55 total wins. That brings me to a 6.99% win rate. Average damage per game is 575.79, and average kills per game is 1.81. And now let's look at those same three stats as they happened over the 100 drops. So looking at kills per game, damage per game, and win rate, all three of these categories are below my seasonal average. This is the first triple negative POI that we've had since episode 2, which was Monument all the way back a couple months ago now. Energy Depot, kills per game 1.57 compared to my seasonal average of 1.81. Damage per game looks a little bit better, but is still in the negatives. And then win rate is pretty bad. With a 3% win rate at Energy Depot, I won 3 out of my 100 games there, compared to, on average, I am winning about 6.99% of my games so far this season. So, triple negative, first triple negative since Monument, and we'll be looking into why that might be a little bit later in the slideshow. But right now, let's go into the game modes. At Energy Depot, I actually played the most variety of different game modes that we've seen so far on the series. I played 32 games of duos, 16 games of trios, 13 games of duo queue trios, so me and a friend queued up and then had a random join us, 29 games of solo queue trios, and then 10 games of duo v squads. Me and my brother tried some duo v squads just for a little bit of a challenge, you know? So let's look at Groudon Go's stat of the day, and the stat of the day that we're going to be looking at today is why the heck was Energy Depot so bad? Well, a couple different factors might be the case. Solo queue, duos, and duo v squads made up 71% of my total games at Energy Depot. Why does this matter? Historically, these three game modes are my worst across all of the game modes that I could possibly be playing in. So typically throughout the history of this series, I have performed the worst in the solo queue, the duos, and the duo v squads mode, and I have performed the best in the trios and the duo queue mode. So with these three low-end game modes making up the majority of the games that I played here, possibly a factor that could have contributed to a lower success rate at this POI. Also, we have to take into consideration the design of the POI. The pit and the chaos that ensues when you drop there means that you're going to have a high variance of data. You're either going to get the jump on somebody and get a free kill, or you could also, conversely, get jumped on and die for free as well. The fact that there's no cover, it's right off drop, you're 50-50ing, means that there's more of a chance of variance. Player skill factors into the situation less than it would if there was more cover to play, if you had more time to loot and get higher tiers of armor, meaning your time to kill would go down, stuff like that, right? Obviously, player skill is always going to be the biggest determinant in how well you do at these POIs, and players who have higher player skill will obviously still be winning more gunfights, no matter how big the levels of variance are, versus somebody who isn't as skilled at the game. But the focus of this series is trying to improve the other aspects of your game, mainly map knowledge, game IQ, stuff like that, to hopefully, you know, allow you to see better results that way. And finally, maybe I was just off my game today.
He just isn't on top of his game today.
It's always entirely possible that even though my sample size is quite large of 100 games, that I have a stretch of just bad games, or for whatever reason, I'm just not playing well that day. Who knows why it could be, but that could also just contribute to one of these POIs, not just this one, having lower stats than you would typically expect of the POI, right? So just a couple things to keep in mind. Obviously, none of the data that I'm bringing here is 100% airtight. This isn't a double-blind study backed by Princeton that's going to be published in the next scientific journal, right? So don't take the stats as, 100% fail-proof data that should determine how you play or where you land, right? Honestly, the bigger point, what you should really be taking away from this series, is the smaller things and tips and tricks that you can use at these POIs specifically, and in the greater sense of your game IQ, picking those things up that I'm trying to leave in these episodes, and then, bettering your game that way, versus just looking at the raw data and trying to determine conclusions from that. It's a fun piece that I like to add into the series, that and it'll be fun to see at the end, which POIs I perform the best at, which ones I perform the worst at. It'll be fun to see, but ultimately, The biggest point that I'm trying to make with this series is helping you improve in your game knowledge, your game IQ, bringing those up to higher levels so that you see better success in your own games. And finally, let's see how Energy Depot stacks up against the other POIs we've looked at so far. Like I mentioned, this is our second triple negative POI, and it wasn't as bad as Monument. I said in the Monument episode that I didn't expect any POIs to really get close to how bad I performed at Monument. Well, Energy Depot really gave Monument a run for its money. Minus 0.24 kills per game, minus 76.85 damage per game, and minus 3.99% win rate is barely better than what we saw at Monument. Monument had slightly more kills per game, less damage per game, and a worse win rate. And then finally, as the map is rolling around showing you what the stats look like, I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of my subscribers over on Twitch for supporting the channel financially. Tiny T-Rex 2019, Soggy Balls, you're a legend, Soggiest Balls in Fabled Clan, Bailey Beluga, Fortnite 2362, Kimmy Brown, love you mom, and Zarif Mavis. Thank you to all of you. It really does mean a lot that you are willing to financially support me in my journey to hopefully bring you fun, educational content. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Love you guys.